All right. First attempt here, the Double R Golf podcast. That seems fitting. Won't even talk about it. We'll just move forward. Just know that right now the most fitting thing that could be happening is happening. Thank you, Hazley, for providing that.
Yeah.
Um, interesting week, interesting couple of weeks, I'd say. We have had all types of golf opportunities. We have gone and played all different types of great golf courses, most of which we have got rained on in the process. I went and played golf with a guy recently. He was from Idaho. We met on the course. We were backed up, and he was like, "Just come play with me, man." And I said, "Okay." Story for another day. While I was there alone, I hadn't got there alone. Fuck it. That's what we're doing, right? It's a podcast. We're here to talk about our misadventures. So let's talk about it. So I show up. I pick a guy up. It's my stepfather, old T Dog. You might have seen him in a couple of the videos. I pick him up Saturday. We go an hour out of town to go play this nice course. It's ECU, East Carolina University's home course, Ironwood Golf Club in Greenville. It's a great place. It's a fun course. It's hard. It's open. You can really kind of swing away. You can kind of work some stuff out there, which was good for me. Uh, so he is a PA. Little backstory there. He works in a town maybe about 25 minutes towards Greenville, where we were going from where we're at here in Rocky Mount. And so I pick him up. We go. We get all the way to Greenville, hour away. We get there early. We got time. We're hitting range balls. Whatever. We're doing our thing. Cool. We get out there. I start out for me pretty good. Par. I mean, I'm not saying I haven't ever started better than that, but I mean, it's a nice feeling when you don't go out there and double bogey the first hole, at least for me. It's pretty standard. So, anyways, we get out there. I par the first two holes. I'm playing great. Greens in regulation, on fire. I mean, I'm crushing the ball off the tee. I'm having a great time. It's a good, nobody in front of us, several people behind us, but they're playing slow. We were good to go. All right, cool. So we finished the second hole. I just got my second par. I'm feeling good. We're pulling around to the first par three, and T Dog gets a phone call, says no caller ID on it. And immediately my man goes, "Oh, fuck. I'm on call for the ER this weekend." And I'm like, "What do you mean you're on?" "Oh, yeah, I forgot." Like, what? How do you forget that, dude? And he was like, he takes the call. So I go ahead up there to the tee box. I'm fuming. You know what I mean? I'm not thrilled. So I go up to the tee box. I hit my shot. It's not great. I walk back to see, okay, maybe he was able to walk it through on the phone. I'm not really sure. And so he goes back and he starts, I hear him. He's talking. He says, "Okay, well, I guess I'll see you in about an hour." And I'm thinking, God damn, like, what are we talking about right now? And I'm running through, how's this going to work? We brought my car. You know what I mean? My car that I love, that like I don't even let her drive it. You know what I mean?
This is accurate.
Yeah, I don't even let her drive
He
it.
even takes the freaking garage. I have to park outside.
I have a black car,
Oh.
and we live in a very windy, dusty area, and my car
Word.
looks like a
We
used
drive
Q-tip.
the same car.
Right. And mine is black, yours is white. That's why mine goes in the garage.
I
And because I always beat you home. Story
oh.
for another day. Irregardless, so my
Mhm.
man has to take off. He says, "Well, can I borrow your car?" And I'm like, I mean, I fucking guess. Like, what's the other option here, dude? Like I'm gonna take you there. I'm gonna quit playing also. I'll drive it there. I'll meet you back for the back nine. It won't take long. We just got to set a wrist in place, whatever. And I'm like, all right, cool. So I take him back, and he's like, we go in, we talk to the guys in the shop. I said, "Hey, this is what's going on. We passed 4 groups, 5 groups now behind us. I know I'm not going to be able to go take my spot in line back. Is it cool if I just start over?" And he says, "Yeah, that's fine." I said, "Okay, cool." So I start over on one, 4 groups ahead of me. I got a single, a 3-man pack in front of them, 2 in front of those guys, and I want to say there might have been a foursome up there. Anyways, so I'm not playing fast. I'm by myself. Play the hurls again. Got pars again. Not the same way, which was like kind of cool because I was like, "How do you play this?" You know what I mean? Like you start out red hot and then you stop. So what do? You know what I mean? Like, do I count my original score? I'm not in the same mind. I'm not in the same frame of mind now. Like I just went from like red hot. Oh my god, I'm hitting it exactly where I
I think
want
you
it.
just chuck it in the trash and start
You
over.
just have to start over, which is like kind of some bullshit if you're playing well. I mean, don't get me wrong. There have been
Yeah, but you
days.
need practice.
Oh, there have been days where I would have paid money to start over after 2 holes. You know what I mean? So,
That's
in
me
high,
every.
yeah, well, and, you know, that's part of it. But it's just kind of like, damn, dude, I finally come out and like I start hot, which never happens for me, and it's like immediately I have to give it right back. I mean, you couldn't have drawn it up any worse. But like I said, I got a par on the first hole. Hit a good tee shot to almost the same exact place, little right, and I hit a nice iron up. And this time, instead of putting it right on the green, I was like just short of the green, left of all the trouble in like a small little chunk of grass. And I was like, man, damn, you know, here we go. Now I'm about to lose a stroke here. This sucks, you know. And I almost made the chip for birdie and was like, whew, you know what I mean? Like, all right, maybe it's just my day. Maybe it's just my day, you know. And I ended up parring the next hole as well, the exact same way I had, I believe. I just piped it down the middle. I mean, put it right up on the green, and it's a green where like if you miss the green, you're totally screwed. Like it's got a almost like a false front on the front of it, and it's straight downhill. You go back over the cart path and down a little like drainage area. It's not where you want to be, and then if you miss to the right, it funnels right into the tree line. I've seen more balls out there get lost on that than on any of the water features. And I've seen a bunch of balls get lost in some water features out there. It's a tough course. It's fun.
So how did you end up faring by the end of the day?
By the end of the day, it took me a minute. I kind of got my bearings. I had to wait a lot, which was fine. That's, you know, summertime golf. Everybody's out there.
Did you golf by yourself the whole 18?
So I made it through the front nine by myself. The guy in front of me was a single. He was an older dude, and he let me by. He said, hey, look, there's a threesome in front of me. They'll definitely let you play through. You go ahead. And I said, all right, I appreciate it. You know what I mean? Thank you, sir. So I did. And I played through, and I got up to the threesome, and it was like it was always just slightly off. Like they would just be getting to their ball in the fairway or something and start hitting like as I'm getting to the tee box. So it just never really panned out. And I will say there was a couple times where it seemed like they might have hesitated, and like they would watch me pipe it down the middle and then put it right up on the green and two putt and get a par, right? And then they'd watch me like, you know, take two off the tee and shank them both 30 yards. So like I'm not mad at them, you know, and I was definitely working some stuff out. Like,
so how'd your end of score come?
I want to say like high 80s.
That's still not
You
a
know,
bad
mid
round
to
of
high
golf.
80s. I mean, for me, yeah. I mean, would I have liked to have shot a little better? Yeah. But it wasn't bad, all things considered. It ended up getting absolutely poured on for like 3, 4 holes. Really, the last couple holes until 18. I think from like 14 to 17, we are pretty well getting rained on.
At least it probably cooled it off a bit.
Yeah, but on hole 10, you were just asking, did I play the whole thing by myself? No, and that's where the guy from Idaho came in, and that's where this whole conversation started, which is okay. That's how it goes. So I get to hole 9, finish it out. I go to hole 10. I notice like I stopped and got like a snack. I was dying. I was hungry, so I stopped and got a snack. And I come back out, and the dude kind of like zipped in, you know, from 9 on to 10. And I was like, no worries. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care, dude. There's nowhere for you to go. I have no problem waiting behind you, though. You know, he plays the hole. It's a tough hole. It's a par 4. You kind of hit. It's kind of a blind tee shot because you're hitting out into a fairway, and then it kind of really folds down. And there's actually a gully that you have to go over a bridge over, and then it kind of flattens out and then comes up to the green. It's a tough hole. So I had to wait a little bit to hit my tee shot because I wasn't, you know, I've hit them before on that hole. If you catch it clean, you'll catch the downslope and you'll lose your ball. So you kind of have to take maybe a little lesson driver. But anyway, so I got through that one. It was tough. I didn't do great. I think I might have got a bogey or a double bogey. I don't remember which. And so I'm coming around to the next one. The way that the next one works, you have to get in the cart from the green and you come up and then you turn right. The green for the next hole is right there where you're turning. It's like a T, you know, because the cart path goes, turns around, comes back. That's the green for that par 3, and then you scoop around to the next hole. So he was on the green getting ready to go up there and putt, and he was waiting. So I came around, and he was like, hey, man, if you want, you could just come play with me. You know, there's no need. Both of us just standing around waiting. It'll take us a little longer to play together. We can do that. And I said, sure, man, absolutely. He seemed like a nice enough guy. So I played the hole. I think I got a bogey, maybe a par. I don't know. And So I went on around to the next one and we introduced ourselves or whatever. He was a really nice kid. I think his name was Shane. He was a young dude. He was like 26. I say young dude. He was 4 years younger than me. But he just, you could tell like he didn't. I don't know. In my
30s are old.
in my 30 years, okay, go fuck yourself.
That is language on our podcast.
This is not a PG show.
Mm-hmm.
Double R Golf has not been PG for a while now, and we've made that abundantly clear.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, so
I'll have you know that I'm in my 20s.
not by much. Okay, she's like as old as you can be and still be in your 20s. And let me tell you,
I am not.
she's asleep by 9 o'clock every night. You would think she was a toddler or like at the end of her life, given her schedule.
Robert
She
James.
wakes up super. She wants to eat dinner at like 4:15.
I do not.
It is absurd. It's like living with a grandma. If your grandma was like, I don't want to do that anymore. Let's do something different all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So anywho, my man's from Idaho, right? He was born in Boise, Idaho. He grew up in Sacramento, California. He went to school at BYU because
Brigham
Young University. Good for him, And now he is like working for a contractor, like a general contracting company. And he came out here to do his first job. And I was like, that's awesome.
Rocky Mount.
No, to Greenville.
Okay.
Yeah, he's building some sort of like a grocery store.
Okay.
And I was like, that's cool, man. And you guys probably don't know this. I worked in the trades for 5 to 10 years. I don't really know how much of it you want to consider. I mean, I was hardcore in the trades for like 4 or 5 years. I worked maintenance and construction for probably 5 or 6 as well. So like kind of more residential stuff, but I was in the bigger league of it for a while and enjoyed that time or whatever for what it was. And so we were able to relate, and he was asking some questions and, asking about this contractor and that contractor, like subcontractors he was using. And it was great. He was a nice kid. We were hitting the ball very similar. He had this crazy stance. He's like, it was wild. Like he got in his regular stance, but then like he would preload his left. So he would kind of get where he wanted to be at finish, like when he's actually making contact before he started his swing. So I'm like, I understand, like if you're getting in that position early, then like you don't have to worry about not getting there in time. Like I get the concept, but it was, and like, okay, so his legs, like he didn't just stand like a normal stance. Like he took his trail leg and like kind of flared it out at an angle. And like, at first I didn't notice it. I was like standing behind him and stuff. But like when I actually caught it from like standing like, kind of in front of him and he was hitting, I was like, what in the fuck am I looking at? And then he'd hit it and it would go, I was hitting it really well for me and he was putting them right there with me. So I was like, hey man, if it's working for you, it's working for you. I mean, but it was strange to look at. And he did the same thing. Like he would crazy load up like on bunker shots. He looked like he was, I don't know, like taking a pose out of like a skiing magazine or something. Like he was so angled over it. Like he'd pop it right out and he was playing good golf. Nice kid.
I can understand doing a different stance because I do that when I golf. Yeah. Because my golf balls go very far right because I don't tend to get my hips around.
Right.
So when I hit the longer irons, or let's be real, every club in my bag, sure, I pull my left leg back so that it kind of already gets my hips in a position when I come around to try and go to the middle of the fairway.
Yeah, try to square it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Which is totally understandable.
And
I've seen people do different things. You know what I mean? Like my T-Dog, he would kind of pull like his trail leg back to try to achieve some of the same things to allow himself to rotate more back around so that he was getting more close. I don't know. And I've done that before. I used to get in what looked like a pass blocking stance for a tackle in football. Like, where you put that leg crazy far back so you can like kind of kick back. It's this crazy move. And if you've never played offensive line, you probably have no idea what I'm talking about. But it's a thing. If you watch a football game, if you watch a football game when they're passing, the two offensive linemen that are furthermost away from where the ball starts at the center, when they're passing, they start with this crazy, like, offset of their legs. And it's so that they can like do this little kick motion to get back and try to pass those edge rushers, which are usually phenomenal, quick athletes. And you got to try to do everything you can to get in front of them and stop them from ruining your quarterback's day. And then
I'm cheering on the sidelines.
I mean, you were over there. I don't know. I feel like cheering in Illinois, where she is from, and cheering here were a little different. they were doing some chants. I don't know that you call
I
that
did
cheering.
chant.
I mean, that's what I said. You were doing some chants. Yeah. I mean, there's no arguing that. I'm just saying it was, what else. And of course, this is Hazley for those that haven't seen it. But yeah, I said your name. I sure did. This is her sushi roll. It is a shark. She loves him, even though she mutilates him every day.
I can't quite figure out why Roberto calls it a sushi roll.
Because we had been to eat sushi the night that we bought it, and I was like, oh, Hazley needs a little sushi too,
Because it's a shark.
I mean, it's a shark.
Because everybody eats shark on their sushi. It makes perfect sense.
Hazley is currently trying to eat the shark, and it does not look like it has been prepared.
Doesn't make any sense.
Megan can be a very negative person.
Oh, here we
She's
go.
like a negative Nancy, if you will.
Oh, whatever. I'm positive Polly.
But anywho.
And you're Tiny Tim.
Thank God for video editing is all I'm going to say. You know what I mean? Because Jesus knows none of this should make it. No, but really though, so my man, he's not from here. He's only been here for a couple months. And he asked me, that was the whole point of this entire story, which got so off base so quick. But anyways, this must be your guys' wet season. And I laugh. Like I bust out laughing.
All
I'm like,
dude.
Are wet well, no, I mean, like I laugh because, North Carolina, Eastern North Carolina, especially summertime, I mean, they're usually like not allowing people to water their lawns because we're in such a big drought. You know what I mean? Like the reservoirs around town where people usually go and fish and swim are like, you could walk on them. You know what I mean? Usually this time of year, it's just been the wettest summer I can recall. And like, it only seems to rain on like weekends.
Golf days.
While
or Friday
I'm golfing.
night.
Yeah, while I'm golfing, it seems to be like prime time for it to rain. Is like, if I want it to rain, make a tee time. And that's when it's going to rain. It's how it's felt. You know what I mean? And that's all right. I mean, it's a good thing. Everything is super plush because of it, which has been super nice this year.
Yeah.
Ironwood's greens were like so soft because it had actually rained that day before we played. I mean, you weren't getting any like rollout at all. I mean, you could hit like a 5-iron onto them, and I mean, it would hit. And like when you get up there, you'd see where it hit, and you're like, "Damn, dude! Like, did I get a little backspin on this? You know what I mean? Like, did I just hit a lob wedge from 190? Like, I don't think so." But yeah, so that it's just been a weird season for it. So much rain. We've had so much fun though. So some of the best golf experiences. Some of the best experiences of my life. We went to Ocana, used to be Scotch Hall out there in Maryhill, North Carolina. I think it's Bertie County, out there by Ahoskie, Little Washington.
When I think of Bertie, you know what I think of?
Remember the Titans. Yes, absolutely.
That's
absolutely.
What I think of.
Yep. I mean, how do you not, That's always, it's so funny, man. I've been, obviously I'm wearing I don't know if you can even tell it, but I'm wearing a Half a Day shirt.
It's a little big.
It's huge. Yeah, me and Megan, we're both down like a respective like 45 pounds individually, like 90 pounds total. We just got back from the gym. That's, why we're wearing gym clothes. But
we did a good arm workout today, though.
We did do a good arm workout
arms
today.
Feel like jello.
Yeah, I don't remember which one it was, which exercise it was, but
all of them.
Well, yeah, but there was one of them, man. I got through with the first set, and I was like, "Ooh, my arms hurt. Like they're gonna hurt like in a couple days. Like this is the first one, I still
Probably
got 3
the shoulder
sets.
press.
I don't even think we did the shoulder press. We did a bench press machine today. We did
it was
curl. Was it the
These
curl?
things.
There was one else. There was another.
Well, the
one.
bench press was
I guess it was. It had to have been the curls. It had to have been the curls.
Yeah.
I did the first set of those, and I was just like, when I got done, I could just, oh God, I could feel it so rough right there. Which, I mean, is what you're supposed to feel, you know what I mean? But it was just like, ooh, buddy, that's going to hurt.
When I told Rob that I was hurting, he giggled.
There was at one point today, Megan was on a bench press machine, and I don't know, I'm sure you've done a bench press machine before, but it'd probably been a long time ago.
I've only ever done ones where you like lay down on an actual bench and it's a bar that you put weights on and like clamps on the end.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry that we didn't do that. I'm sorry to
I've
disappoint.
never done like a machine, like an assisted bench press.
I mean, they have barbells there.
I mean, that's a little much for me.
That's kind of what I was thinking too, but just judging by your general attitude, I was like, I didn't mean to offend you with the machine.
Here we go.
I didn't mean to offend. I'm sorry. I didn't know we were better than the machine. It's assisted. My bad. I didn't realize it was like assisted fucking
It
living
was
here.
helpful.
Yeah. So it was rough for Megan, is what I was getting at, really. And like, I don't know how well you can see my mouth right now, but at one point I looked down and Megan looked like she was trying to blow a dude with like no teeth, like without using her.
Oh my gosh.
I fucking lost it, man, and I was laughing my ass off. Megan's like mid set and stops and was like, "What the fuck is so funny, Robert?" And like, I hated to tell her. I was like, "Nothing, you know. Just keep going, man. Nothing, you know." I didn't want to be that guy to discourage somebody mid fucking set, you know. But so when she got done, I asked her. I was like, "Why'd you look like quietly, of course, because it was a crowded place and nobody wants to be that guy." But I was like, you know, why were you holding your mouth like that, like you were trying to give a dude a gummy? And she bust out laughing and was like, it was hard, you know. And I was like, oh, okay. It just seemed like such an unnatural thing. Ooh, I
I was
lost
focusing
it.
on my breathing.
Yeah, which is good. That's what you have to do, of course. But yeah, but I mean, it was a good time, and we did though. And we
This
have.
started out with like your have a day though, but his have a day shirt is too big.
It's way too big.
So we need a new one.
It's way too big. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get a new one. Probably need to get a new hat too.
Bob and Tom. Bob does sports. Tom does Bob.
So this
Shout
past,
out to Grandma Kay.
yeah, this past Christmas, you know, her family asked for a Christmas list, which is new for me. It's nothing that like my family ever really did. Like you could tell them, hey, here's a couple things I wouldn't mind having, and you might get it, you might not, whatever. Her family, on the other hand, much like my brother-in-law's family, they want a detailed list with like part numbers and stuff. You know what I mean? Like we don't just want the website, we want the item number and like, you know, the whole 9 yards, which is cool. It's nice to know that you're getting stuff that you actually want. It's not something that I've ever been used to. So I sent like a screenshot of the Bob Does Sports website and also a Good website because I love those fighting for par hats that Good used to wear. I don't know if they still make them or not. I didn't ever get one. I bought a different gray hat instead, and it just kind of never got back around to it. But I did end up buying a Bob Does Sports hat later. But anyways, so we go up there, and they give me this thing, and I see it's a hat, and I was like, oh, cool. I wonder if it's the hat, you know? And I open it, and it's just a Titleist hat, which is like totally perfect. You know what I mean? Like if you're ever in doubt buying a gift for Robert, if it says Titleist, it's probably a good call, unless it's like Velocity or something.
He has everything Titleist. Team Titleist for the win.
Yeah, I mean, I love Titleist stuff. It started with their wedges. Regardless, we're getting so off topic here. So, anyways, we're at this Christmas gathering with all of her step siblings and her grandparents, her dad, her stepmom, and like her 3 or 4 kids and like their spouses. And we're talking about a room full of people here, right? And her very sweet grandmother, Grandma Kay. I opened the hat and I'm like, oh, wow, thank you. You know, thank you guys so much because I'm super polite. I try to be, especially when someone's giving you something. You're never like, I try not to be like, I don't like it. I will, if I really don't like it, like I'm not going to say it in that moment. I'm going to be like, oh my God, thank you so much. And then I'm going to try to return it or like throw it away or whatever happens after that happens. But it's like not ever going to be used. But this wasn't the case. Anyways, it was a Titleist hat. It was a good gift. Thank you, you know, thank you guys so much for all these amazing gifts they gave us. And her grandma like can't help herself, so she speaks up, like, you know, hushes the crowd, like, oh, Robert, and everybody's like, shh, you know, grandma's talking, and she's like, I tried to get you that Rob does Bob or Bob does Rob, whatever the fuck that was, and I lost. I was like, oh my God, everybody's like, what is Rob doing Bob for? And I'm like, yeah.
I just want to know what the Google search was.
That's the other side, right? She's like, I Google search Rob and Bob or fucking or whatever. You know?
Yeah.
Hilarious. Luckily, one of the husbands or something was like, oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Bob Does Sports. And I was like, that's it. Yes. And he was like, Bobby Fairways and Fat Perez and Cold Cut. I was like, yeah, that's it, man. That's exactly. It's so bad.
Did you say Cold Cut?
Yeah, Joey Cold Cuts. That's what he calls himself or whatever. Megan's not
Oh.
really a Bob Does Sports fan. She's seen a couple of the videos.
I like the hot challenge.
That was hilarious. The Hot Ones challenge. Yeah, she's only
Fat
seen a
Perez,
couple.
man, you gotta up your ante.
That was
It
hilarious.
was awful.
Let me tell you something, dude. Joey Cold Cuts really proved something to me that day.
Does he like cold cut combos?
I don't know him personally. Like I would love to know him personally. I don't know him personally. I don't know.
I wonder.
I think it's just like it just. I think so. I mean,
I wonder
like
if he
cold
cuts cold.
I think I've seen him eat several cold cut sandwiches. I don't think he's ordering.
He
like,
loves hot things. Though.
I don't think he's ordering like Subway cold cut, like the prepackaged. Like we don't even. I don't think that's what they mean. I think this is more like a New York style deli.
Do you have something you need to admit?
That's the most offensive shit I've ever seen anyone say. She don't even know which one Joey is, and she's like, "Is he fucking kids?" Like, yeah, no, he's not.
He's the chef. He used to be a chef, and he like killed the spicy challenge.
Yeah, that's it.
And he hits one good shot out of every 4.
Confidence. If he ever watches this video, when we get to that point, it'll be like, yeah, that's right. I am the chef, and I do like, God damn it, yeah, I do. You know. Now there are some really, really funny ones, and full disclosure here, folks.
We're not gonna play this one on our podcast until we're famous.
Full disclosure here, folks. If it wasn't for Bob Does Sports, I don't even think that I would be attempting to like share content or doing any of this stuff. Like, big fan of those guys. Really am. Like, I'm a huge fan. I watch their stuff every Thursday. I've watched their stuff on other people's channels. It's turned me on to a bunch of other, really interesting YouTube channels. I love Busted Jack. Those guys are awesome. Their stuff with Good Good's really cool. Rick Shields, of course, the godfather of all this stuff, in my opinion. I didn't even know there were YouTube like entertainment videos until I started seeing some of Rick Shields' stuff, which really started with more of like some instructional stuff, how to do this, how to do that. You go to their page, you're like, oh wow, here's him playing 9 holes with Ricky Fowler or whatever, and it's just when I found the Bob Does Sports stuff, it wasn't so serious. And don't get me wrong, a lot of the other guys are joking, a lot of the other guys are having a good time. Oh, Siri there. But it's just their stuff was hilarious, and it's like dudes that like on any given day, I feel like I could go out there and play golf with Bob or play golf with Joey and shoot about what they shoot. You know what I mean? Like that's about where I, right there, mid handicapper, probably below 20, probably above 10. Fat Perez would whip my ass. There's no doubt about it. And I know that. And that's kind of my point though, right? Like those other guys, all of them are whipping my ass. You know what I mean? And it's not that I wholeheartedly believe that like Joey and Bob could beat me, 50% of the time. It would totally depend on like just who was hitting it better a little bit that day, like very similar score wise, I believe, and abilities. Of course, it's easy to say that they're playing those scramble formats, and like it's just like you said, Joey hits one good shot out of every 4 or whatever. But he's also going last on like the tee shots and stuff.
That's your like seed.
He's the one who's like trying to crush it and get it out there. Bob's putting it in the fairway, Bobby fairways. You know what I mean? And, yeah. So, and then you got Fat Perez who's going to do the same thing. Probably he can get after it a little bit more and like know that it's going in the right place than Bob does. And of course, Joey, when he catches it, I mean, he's going to blow by all of them. You know what I mean? So